Hi everybody, today we are going to be talking about the movie The Notebook and more specifically evaluating its 15 points of mise en scène. Before talking about these 15 points, I'm going to give a rundown of the main characters in the story. On this slide, we can see Allie and Noah, who are two teenagers in love. They come from different backgrounds. Allie is wealthy, while Noah has to work for what he has. Noah can be described as faithful and committed, while Allie is a sensitive and warm-hearted person. Anyways, that is enough about the characters. Let's get into the 15 points of mise en scène. This is the scene that I am going to be analyzing. It's 15 points of mise en scène. It is one of the beginning scenes from The Notebook that kind of introduced Allie and Noah to the audience, and it was one of Allie and Noah's first conversations. The first thing we want to analyze when looking at mise en scène is the dominant figure in the scene. In this image specifically, the audience's eyes are drawn to the red sweater Allie is wearing. Allie is wearing a bright red sweater, whereas the rest of the scene has several shades of darker tones, such as blacks and grays. Okay, so next we have lighting key. Lighting is a very important part to the film. It can help create a mood for the scene, and it can give the audience the dramatic or subtle view that the filmmaker is going for. In this image, I would say that the lighting is high key. We can see the light in the background that is reflecting on the windows, and in this scene, Allie and Noah were just starting to get to know each other, so the high key lighting helps give the scene a positive message. Next, we are going to analyze the shot and camera proxemics. For this, we want to visualize what type of shot we are seeing and how far away the camera is from the action. In this image from The Notebook, we as the audience are viewing a long shot because we can see both Allie and Noah's full bodies. When analyzing a scene, the camera angle is an important aspect. A low-angle shot can make the actor appear to be more dominant and powerful, whereas a high-angle shot can make the subject seem powerless. This image of Allie and Noah seems to be an eye-level shot. The camera is placed at the same height as Allie and Noah, and the eye-level shot helps show the equality between the two characters. When looking at an image, you can ask yourself, what is the dominant color? Color can help the viewer understand the tone and mood of the story, as well as what time of day the scene is set. This image has several neutral colors, especially on the building in the background. I'd say that the red sweater on Allie is the dominant color. It stands out since there are some darker colors around her, such as Noah's dark jacket and hat. This was both a happy and positive scene, since the characters were getting to know each other, and Allie's red sweater helps symbolize this happiness. Now moving on to the lens, filter, and stock. When looking at this image, I would say that there is a slow film stock, meaning that there is a great amount of illumination and that the finished product of the image is sharp. The reason why I don't think this image is fast film stock is because the final image doesn't appear to be grainy. Now, when talking about camera lens, these affect the photo quality more than megapixels because a lens can affect the camera blur or the level of detail in the image. Considering that we can't see much of the surroundings, I wouldn't say a wide angle lens was used, but maybe a normal lens was used since the way the camera is viewing Allie and Noah is the same way the human eye would view them. Next, we are going to analyze the subsidiary contrasts. As I talked about on one of my previous slides, we concluded that Allie was the dominant character in this image because of her red sweater. Now, when asking yourself, where does the eye go to next? I would say the audience's eye goes to Noah. Noah is the other protagonist in this image, and he is the character Allie is looking at. Okay, so when talking about the density of the image, I would say that the image is not very dense. Even though we can see the buildings in the background, the image is still focused on the two protagonists, Allie and Noah. Moving on to the composition. When analyzing the composition, we question how the image is organized. In this image, we can understand that there is a binary composition since there's two characters, and there's a vertical sense because the characters are looking towards each other. When talking about the form of an image, we can ask ourselves if the fragment is open or closed. This image is a closed form because the important parts of the image, specifically Allie and Noah, are both shown in a confined space. Okay, so next up is the framing of the image. For this, we ask ourselves if there is a tight or loose framing. I would say that the framing on this image is tight just because it doesn't seem like the two characters have much space to move around. Both Allie and Noah are also placed at the edge of the frame, which also makes the image come off more as tight. When talking about the depth of field, it is always important to understand what the focus within the image is. As you can see from the arrows I added, both Allie and Noah are in focus and they appear very sharp. However, when we look at the building in the background, specifically the one with the arrow pointed towards it, we can tell that it isn't as sharp as the two characters are. Moving on to character placement. When talking about character placement, we want to figure out if the characters are at the top, bottom, center, or the edges of the frame. It is clear that both Noah and Allie are in the center of the frame. The staging position is basically the character's position in relation to the camera. The different positions include full front, quarter turn, profile, three-quarter turn, and back to camera. The staging position demonstrated between Allie and Noah is the profile, meaning that the characters are looking at each other deep in thought. The profile technique kind of gives the audience the feeling of the characters being unaware that they are being observed. Finally, we have character proxemics, which refers to the amount of space between the characters. This scene had emotion, love, and happiness involved, which leads me into thinking that intimate distances are being shown. Allie and Noah are shown pretty close together, and this scene was the moment where the characters began falling in love.